And you talked about the need not to put the sign in the window anymore, to pretend that things are still the same. Do you think, to put it directly, that the NATO alliance is still doing that, still pretending it's the old transatlantic partnership, when it's really kind of going?
Well, I think clearly NATO is experiencing a test right now, and the first response to that test has to be to respond in a way that ensures the security of the Arctic in a robust way for all possibilities. This is actually a point that we have been making in recent years. It's a point that I made at the NATO summit back in June, which seemed like a pledging summit, but also was to get NATO policies in the right direction. So I think in the immediate term, one of the imperatives is to reinforce things that Canada is doing, Nordic Baltic 8 are doing, the UK are doing, other NATO partners, France included, in a comprehensive way that provides much greater security in the Arctic. This is the test, and so I wouldn't say the NATO sign stays in the window, but we've got to meet the moment of that.
You also, a big theme of your speech was the need for middle powers to work together. But you've just been to the other great power, to China. And I think people are very intrigued by seeing that meeting. And some people say, kind of, that's a mistake, really, because you're going to make yourself more dependent on China. They're not that benign either. The US will be very annoyed. What's the defense of what you're doing, and what do you hope to get out of it?
Well, the first thing is to say it's not a defense. It's an I know the way you framed the question, but it's offense. It's building out. It's something positive as opposed to against. We're for something as opposed to being against. The second is there are very clear guardrails in that relationship. I spoke of calibration of relationships in my remarks. That's what I mean by it. But within those clear guardrails are huge opportunities in energy, both clean and conventional, obviously in motor vehicles, in agriculture, in financial services, all of which is mutually beneficial. So it's additive, and look, it's the second largest economy and it's our second largest trading partner. We should have a strategic partnership with them within those guardrails, and that's what we've achieved.
And it is an interesting reversal, though, because I think certainly during the Biden administration, there was this sense that the Western world was trying to decouple from China, or de-risk at least. Yeah. And is now in this new world, that really going to go into reverse, and de-risking from China, because there are other risks, is less of a thing.
You need, again, many in this room, this is their livelihood, you need a web of connections. And to miss out in that web some of the largest ones, United States, we already have that, China, India, Mercosur, European Union, that's a mistake. That's not managing your relationships properly. That makes you stronger, makes you more resilient. And then on top of that, I'll give you again, I'll appeal since it's in the headlines to the Nordics. Nordics plus Canada, it's 20% of global GDP. It's not the first thing people would realize. But that relationship, which is deepening for security reasons, because we're like-minded, those are the types of partnerships that I think we'll see more of.
And you got a round of applause when you said something strong about standing on principle on Greenland. Do you think we can find an off-ramp on that? I mean, I'm sure you'll speak of it, but put it this way, if there isn't an off-ramp, where does this go?
I strongly believe that there's a better outcome that come from the discussions that have been catalyzed in an unusual way, admittedly, but and we absolutely stand by the principles that I referenced. That solution starts with security, and a security, yes, of Greenland, but more broadly of the Arctic. Canada is foursquare contributing to that. We're at the start of a major ramp-up above and beyond, so we'll be a major contributor to that. NATO has to deliver on that. We're working intensively in order to do it. As well, prosperity for the people of Greenland. In the end, it comes back to the people there, and there are opportunities to do that in ways that would strengthen all of the alliance.
And when President Trump says, oh, Greenland's under threat from Russia, even from China, is that for real?
I would say that there are threats. Russia is without question a threat in the Arctic, without question. Russia does lots of horrible things, and I'll take the opportunity to condemn their unjustified and horrific assault on Ukraine, almost at its 4th year. They are a real threat in the Arctic, one against we need to protect, which is why we have 364 5-day air, sea, and land presence. It's why we're adding to our submarine fleet, adding to our air fighter fleet, why we're building out over-the-horizon radar to protect from Russian missile threats and others, and why we will work with our NATO partners. The threat is more perspective than actual at this stage in terms of actual activity in the Arctic, and we intend to keep it that way.
Another big issue that's going to come up this week is this board of peace that President Trump is keen on. I'm not sure whether it's for Gaza or for the entire world, but apparently Canada's been invited. Are you going to join?
We have been invited, and let me start by, I think we should recognize the progress that has been made in at least getting towards the end of the first phase of this process, and the activation, if I can put it that way, of the process to set up the Board of Peace is the start of phase 2. Our view is, and that's to be welcomed, and this is a positive vehicle. Our view is we need to work on the actual structure of the vehicle. You just referenced, is it for Gaza? Well, the UN resolution, Security Council Resolution 2803, references a Board of Peace for Gaza. That's where we see it becoming immediately operative, and it needs to be, in our view, it's better to be designed in that way for the immediate needs there. There are many other needs around the world, first point. Second point, it needs to coincide with the immediate full flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza. We are still not where we need to be. Conditions still are horrific. So that needs to come alongside. We think there's aspects of the governance and the decision-making process that could be improved. But we will work with others, obviously work with the United States, because we will do anything that we can to improve the situation, the horrific situation there, and to move onto a path to a true two-state solution.
There's a suggestion you can get permanent membership of the Board of Peace by ponying up $1 billion. You going to write a check for that?
We would write checks and deliver in kind to improve the welfare of the people of Palestine. But we want to see it delivered direct to those outcomes promoting peace, and so the mechanics and how it works that way.
Okay, final question. President Trump and a lot of people who agree with him condemn globalism a lot. And I suspect, you would be the kind of epitome of a globalist. You worked for Goldman Sachs, I believe. You were a central banker. You're comfortable and lived in several countries. Is globalism, first of all, is it a thing, and is it over?
I think, well, look, understanding how the world works, having an appreciation for other cultures, understanding the connections, and being able to, or at least appreciating ways that how we connect, whether it's through technology, trade, investment, culture, can enrich our lives, and that's a good thing, and also help solve problems. Being detached from where you live and the broader needs of society, there is an epithet for that. I don't know that the G word is the one. There's certainly what we're finding, to go back to the points I was making, is that there are a number of like-minded countries that want to work through partnership to achieve those goals for their citizens and for the world more broadly. The call is for more to recognize what's really going on right now, and to pool their resources to the benefit of citizens. So it won't be global, it won't cover the globe, but it will be more powerful.
Okay, Prime Minister, thank you very much indeed.
Very much.